I used to draw profusely from a very young age, like as in 3 or 4. And at the age of 8, I started making furniture, which was a blessing in disguise because it's turned out to be my passion and what I do in life. So I always made objects, useful objects.
And you've designed across the spectrum from showers to water bottles and racing cars. What's been the highlight of what you've worked on?
Oh, there's been so many highlights. It would be, you know, like highlighting which is your favorite child if you've got 10 kids. I like the technology about design, and so motor racing is particularly enjoyable, and I have been involved with automotive componentry on international level, and it does take us to Grand Prix sometimes and meeting the glitzy sort of romantic world of that. The fact that design has ported me around the world for these decades is a really nice aspect to doing what I do.
We've seen over the last decade or so, there's been a resurgence in African design. What are some of the reasons why they're not breaking through?
We've got design emerging out of the arts and crafts culture. So there's a big crossover. There's a vast difference between arts and crafts and design. And Carol Boyes, for example, is a magnificent crossover. She's managed to embrace arts and crafts and turn it into mainstream design. So, you know, design is a global, has to be driven by global type of volumetric numbers, you know, scalability. And the scalability in South Africa is not nearly what you need to keep abreast with global launches and global expectations on product.
Why are we not seeing in Africa the technology and the communication and the advertising and media?
Well, technology takes, it's a big cost, and it takes a deep understanding. For example, tooling, which is the molds you make to produce a plastic article. We don't have a tooling sort of industry of any great magnitude in this country anymore, which is very dangerous because you need tools. And sadly, a lot of my work I do the last years has been tooled in Austria, Germany, China. You know, it's the cornerstone of productivity is making these tools. So I think we're 2 decades behind in the culture of design permeating into the cultural fibre of the community across the board in terms of the understanding. Smart devices have had a quantum leap effect on that, though, I must say. You know, we are smart device-wise in Africa, which is a blessing. The pool cleaner fundamentally was invented in South Africa. You know, the creepy crawly, the barracuda at a similar time. Fortunately, they've both been our clients who've designed components for the creepy crawly and a lot more work on barracuda. This is the old, well, it's still contemporary, G2. It started its life as the Aqua Migo in America. This is the Zoom, which is manufactured in South Africa but never been sold or marketed in South Africa, which is quite interesting, very successful on global markets. And there's a thing in design called, a German word very nicely describes it, Zeitlos, which is timelessness in design. But mostly things are invented in South Africa, made offshore, and then made money globally, and South Africa doesn't always benefit. So that's a sad thing we have to try and change.
But if we follow the value chain, there's design that needs to be manufacturing. Manufacturing creates jobs. Are we not missing a big opportunity for South Africa?
Massive. We're missing massive opportunity. Quite frustrating having grown through it over the years and seen the reticence and the sort of nothing happening from a government level in promotion of design at a very grassroots level. You look at Korea. Korea is a little place far away from here that was a dot on the map, really. And look how powerful they are in the world. They're really giving a hard smack to markets. They've disrupted markets all over the world with wonderful brands. You've got your LG, you've got your Samsung. Those are magnificent brands that are competing with what was the best, Sony and, you know, the German brands from the past. So, you know, from that point of view, if you actually examine Korea, they went on a massive, massive design drive decades ago. And the schools there for design, I mean, they're a design nation.
And this is the famous wheelbarrow.
Yes, well, this is the first wheelbarrow in the world which is actually rust-proof, so to speak. Well, it's polymer, so the plastic can't rust. Polymer is a fancy word for plastic. And I'd like to think you could give this to your great-grandchild in Natal without the Durban rust nailing it after 6 months or a year. So, you know, with the right specifications, products do last longer and become more useful. And there's obviously design elements of this which have made life more bearable for the guys who have them as their tool for their work.
What are some of the exciting projects that you're working on at the moment?
Exciting project at the moment, we're doing a toilet for Africa. Envirolu, a client of ours, is a toilet we're doing, which is a non-waterborne toilet, where we've got it's a dehydration system, and very, very needed in Africa, as we all know. So that's exciting, that it's nice to have a meaningful thing to work on that's actually bringing the dignity back to people. And Africa's got a big community which needs beneficiation in many ways. And I feel I can help Africa and South Africa far more from externally by getting what I'm involved with really going. And then there's a lot of benefits that come back. We've got a lot of philanthropic products. Ladies' menstrual cup, which we got the Gender Award for Economic Empowerment last year. There's a massive problem with menstruation, with females not being able to afford the tampons or pads required, just for example. Now we're using Austrian technology there, and that will permeate back here, and we are solving big problems like that.